healthy for the moment right now. They're the ones kind of in the driver's seat completely. 89 points rolling in. The team behind them, 78 in the form of T-Chips and Archstill rolling through. I feel like the one good thing about Benji Savage right now is every game that they end up winning and winning more, the second place team behind them is the one that has a little bit of that curse. They get pushed back a little bit. And no one's kind of able to catch up with them and keep it close enough. 10 points, I mean, in this format, it seems close right now, but that gap can really widen over time.
Yeah, and it's also the benefit of having a pretty much set spawn plan, right? They know that there's no one else until it's only them and Kinjo and Deceptos, I believe, so there's nothing really that can go wrong for them. Unless they fight Kinjo and Deceptos all of a sudden, there's no reason for a team to sort of go into Tilted unless they're planning on doing some, some different things there. So they'll be able to be consistent, and, they have no worries there, Shayo.
Bigger. The game of opportunity. Looks like Pico and Machi so far haven't had theirs rein in so far. I mean, these guys are good fighters. Pico's one of the most insane players when it comes to box-to-box, pound-for-pound weight, in these close-range box fights and whatnot. What do they need to do to get back into the competition?
I mean, they're doing what they need to do, right? They're going to try to play aggressively, trying to get those early eliminations of spawn now. They have teams that are nearby. I believe they were contested last game, but this game, is this the same team? It's very hard to tell, actually. It seems like it is the same team from Jones before, so this is not actually a push. This is them chasing them out of the spot. This is about alphaing Joneses here, Shayo. They do not want this team landing next to them yet again.
Absolutely not, but that fight is going on for a little bit, so we'll tune in with it in just a second. Study and chat picks, I mean, we talk about this, going for damage. It's still kind of early on inside the game. You'll see people still fighting for their spot right now. It's a pretty basic Fortnite so far until teams start to disengage. Even at Sleepy Sound, usually there's a fast disengagement there. That's going to take a while to come through. And yeah, the Joneses, I mean, it's lasting so long and it's so loud that I see a third team on the minimap now kind of attracted towards this fight. And if you introduce a third party to this one, it's going to be absolutely chaotic.
Yeah, and it's sort of about how you decide to play, right? There's two main parts of Joneses you can land in. You can land either on the north side or the south side. A lot of the
Doesn't
time,
mean
when they land
tournaments.
on that north side, they play the passive to try to sneak up through the tree lines. But it seems like this time, both these teams landing on different sides of Joneses. One of them trying to disengage the Spider-Man gauntlet. And that's what happens. And yeah, another team now comes in again. And this is the tale we've seen of this whole final, basically. A little bit too much over-aggression. You can play a little bit emotional, that's fine. But you gotta think about your own gameplay and your own finals in the end. You do not want to be throwing your finals just playing a little bit too emotional, trying to chase the team out of it. You want to alpha them. But at this point, I think it's already too little too late. They're gonna have to commit to this fight because the material count and the shield count here is not looking too hot.
Not at all. I'm watching some funniness from Machi. He's just rolling in and just slowly crouch walking, going for an SMG spray. Just absolutely through boxes, and yeah, now he's even disrespecting the opposition. I like it. I like the emotion that comes in right now. And at Joneses, you'll see that third-party team completely disengaged. I think they also, maybe they were watching and seeing exactly how this fight was breaking down. It was a little bit too, Jenga tower falling over gif for them. They just kind of left as fast as possible. I don't blame them at all.
Yep, and SC here back through the spawn fights near that orchard spot. Joe, I mean, he got eliminated by Anas and Pink, that third party coming in, unfortunately for him. And that's their momentum gone in game number 3. Anas and Pink, I would love to see that loot at some point, because right now you think they got the vault, but so far they still have it. Pena managing to run out just a little bit, and also gets caught there with Anas and Pink in the box, and that's not what you want to have there from them as we go back towards Chonker's side, I believe. And there's still a lot of aggression going on here. Both teams still trying to fight it out, but Alex and X3 is here trying to, loot up the materials. They do land nearby. Looks like they need to up the metal count here.
Absolutely. I mean, by the time the second zone's coming in at this point, every time I look at the mini-map for a lot of teams, I would not see a big name on it at all. People are usually outside of the name POIs fighting in some weird mid-game skerfuffles, right? But that's not happening right now. It seems that people are not getting out of their off-spawn fights fast enough.
Yeah, and you take a look at the player count as well. 74 people left alive. This is sort of, like I mentioned, this is it's a time to do things, right? So you have to make a difference. So people are trying out different things. They're trying to third party different spots. They're trying to get more eliminations early on, because it must be very frustrating to be eliminated by Storm Surge every single game. So these guys are making the decision, hey, we're just going to jump in and we're going to get a quick elimination on spawn so we don't have to worry about it later on. But this is yet again another South Zone. And looking at Pink and Anis's loadout there, again, very, very good. But another storm fight coming through here with Stompy and Jew coming from that Bugle side, I believe. And then all the way into Sanctuary now, running to another team here, Shio.
It'll be tough for Stompy and company because, you know, we just keep seeing this pattern. A lot of the times it's extreme as to where the zone is. Straight all the way down south. Matt's resource is going to be expended towards absolutely thin right now. Even Pig inside the storm, he's having a little bit of trouble getting all the way in. I like the fact that you pointed out aggression is going to be so much more so different inside game 3. Limited player count overall. People kind of, you know, they might not even expect certain spots to be taken, or, you know, the regular thing you might be expecting to happen inside the game might not be there. It's going to be a very different landscape for a lot of teams.
Yeah, and this is probably the worst zone for Stumpy and Jew there to sort of storm fight in this position, right? Because it is so far away from them, and there's not too many points for you to reform your metal, so you need to be careful here. And looking at the map at the bottom right, look at how many teams there are on that rotation. So much congestion right into Trump, because all of these guys trying to reform the metal. And if you're playing this rotate, it's going to be tough. I don't think this zone's going to pull all the way towards the water side, because it doesn't do that, but you never know. So it could be lucky. And there you go, Storm Surge is going to pop up for the first time. 4 players need to be eliminated until that is gone. But 415 above Surge here for Irish Yumi and Older, our 3rd place team. So they're in a pretty good spot so far.
They are. When you talk about, you know, where the zone can't go, whenever it's on broadcast, it goes straight to the water, man. I'm telling you. It has like an affinity for it. I don't know why, but it happens. And it seems like wherever Benji and Savage go, flames follow. Another house that's being completely set apart on fire.
I think it's the same one, Shayo. I think it's Butterborn. For some reason, they have a vengeance against this Butterborn. But yet again, you know, take a look at the Storm Surge. I mean, this is almost the exact same zone, right? So, again, Benji and Savage not really learning from the mistakes of last game. 37 below Surge here. And there's not going to be a team to jump into the box this time to help them out. As Benji and Savage, they do have a lot of minis. And for those of you that don't know, there's a pretty good strategy that a lot of these duos do. They basically... actually, never mind, because Savage is going to pop his big pot. Not really sure why he's doing that. Oh, there we go. So what a lot of teams tend to do, they try to stay on 150 HP, and they try to use those minis over those big pots, right? Because big pots, they're not expendable. You only have 2 or 3 of them in total. Minis, you have 6 in total in your inventory, right? So you have a lot of your HP. You're basically trading your HP for Surge in this situation, but Savage not doing that. I guess he feels a little bit scared, maybe, for another team trying to push them. And I feel like this is deja vu. This game is, you know, the same zone. Benji Savage below Surge yet again. Vortexia and Cassia also below Surge. What am I saying here, Shayo?
I mean, if that is the case, then Vortexia and Castry have about 2 minutes to live until they get pumped twice in the face. So hopefully it's not the same game for them so far. Benji Savage, though, getting bullied, and we really didn't see this POV that much in the last game. We saw them rotating in and not having the worst of times. But it feels like Vortexia and Castry, they've learned from their past mistakes, have one of the best spots right now to bully an isolated team, and unfortunately it is Benji and Savage on the other side. 11 points for them, 89 for Benji. Savage are in first place and want to keep it going.
Yep, and this is again that little bit of psychology, right? 74 people left alive. Even if you're, you know, only 50 above Surge, you know, you're gonna think surely it's not gonna be us that's gonna be taken out here. And you never know, if one team gets taken out here, Benji and Savage, they could go below Surge. If the other team that's below Surge, you know, the way that it works is all about thresholds, right? So you gotta be careful because one team that gets one extra tag, it could be you being below next. And with Benji only being on 95 effective HP, this is such a scary position to be here.
Absolutely, it's that domino effect completely, right? For all the teams. One team gets further up, everyone else comes toppling down. So you want to make sure you're up keeping with that flip. And right now, yeah, I mean, he's in trouble.
Do you know
how to okay, I gotta be careful here because I'm new to this casting thing, Shao, so I didn't realize I had such an effect on how zones pull. I'm telling you, this zone has pulled towards the water of Chonka side. So worst case scenario for a lot of these teams. This is, I mean, it's gonna be a painful zone for these players, but it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. I'll be honest.
Absolutely is. Unfortunately, too, this is one thing I've noticed over casting a little bit and watching these zones move. When you're down on Surge and the zone kind of moves even more so where all teams are, it becomes a statue situation. You're not able to watch anyone else kind of move out of their boxes. You're in so much more trouble than any other situation if you're bad on Surge. You just saw it with Kaiser right there. There's nowhere to go. One team ends up hearing your shield get tracked, roll in, pops out. You do not want to be low on Surge when it's kind of a statue type zone. You want when things kind of get, you know, constricted, you see it coming. To be proactive, get on your fight fast. I think we saw it from the first one. I forget the duo that did it, but it was done to one of the teams that were a little bit higher on elevation. They just straight up pushed in. It might have been Pan that we saw get right inside the box, beam up, Yeah. You want to be able to be proactive and not wait for that zone to close. Right now, it's all in for a lot of teams. Jock, Skyzoo, that push inside, wait for this spike because they need the damage. They're in that statue situation. No other team is going to allow them to deal damage to them at all. They're just going to be hiding, turtled up inside their boxes. And now it's going to be unfortunate completely. Another situation where Surge is the demise of Jocks and Skyzoo.
And I think these guys got their GPS settings installed incorrectly because they are on the wrong side of Storm here. There's so many players on this northern side. And even Benji and Savage a little bit late to this rotate. Look how many players there are on this edge. This can be a tough one. They're going to have to use a lot of material count. But, Savage with that 200 IQ, going to be very smart going along this ridge line, cutting off line of sight, being unpredictable. Maybe he had a little bit of mind games there too. He showed himself to the left, went right to the right side. And he's a bit of a magician actually from Savage. Trying to confuse an opponent. Unfortunately, though, he's going to get sprayed from below. He needs to be a little bit careful. And now is the time for them to just be careful, just to wait. It is mellow time. You do not want to be editing when there's so many players around you. You want to wait for these metal walls to fully build out before you make any sort of moves. And I don't want to call the zone, but it is going to actually pull to the right side. So away from the water, thankfully for them. And we are going to be saved here from another water zone here, Shayo.
Question is there any pads for Savage and Benji to maybe bounce on and have an easier way inside zone? I see that Anas has one inside his inventory. If that's the case, and once again, we're in the desert. We saw who the Pharaohs were last game, right? Anas and Pink.
Okay.
They stayed up top. They let that family lineage kind of rock from zone to zone to zone to zone. No one could really dethrone them. And they're looking to do it again. An armored wall available for Anas as well. So if anyone tries to go for that chop down, that spray all the way upwards, he has that extra layer of protection and another beam inside the box. They're not only looking for height right now, Boop. They're aware of every single edit going on around them.
Yeah, so what they're basically doing in this position is trying to hold as many people away from them on this high ground, right? Because if you shoot at players that are trying to rotate near you, they're not going to box it below. They're going to try to rotate away from you in this position. So what that's basically going to do, it's going to set you up to have less of a chance of someone sneaking up towards high ground if you do pull half and half here. And I want to talk about the inventory just a little bit. They had 12 Chug Passion. I believe they have 6 more in the inventory of Anas there. So what what these guys love to do, sometimes they like to, sneak up below high ground and try to take it away that time. So maybe if I get a few fortunate zone pulls, you might see them make a storm play with those Chug Splashes because they're very variable. They can heal you up when you're in trouble, but they also are there for those big IQ plays on high ground.
Absolutely. Right now, you might have to toss IQ straight into the bin. Savage and Benji have to just use their feet. Stop thinking. Start moving. Spice is also in effect, so they move at double the speed. Question is, though, if you do end up going the wrong way, that's double the mistake that happens as well. You're talking about the right, left, the elasticity, the bounce back of this team. They're really making the move, showing themselves off to the right, sticking to the left. I like that call-out Boop, but now they're stuck between walls. They can't really edit through it. It's metal after the fact as well. The peppers are not going to make your pickaxes swing faster. You have to just keep going, and they're getting focused still.
And that's at least of the issue here. 250 below Surge. I don't know where they're going to jump in on. I mean, there could be a team nearby, but by the time they're actually into zone, they're going to lose all of their material count. They barely have any hard mats. 160 metal.
Oh no!
Team behind this
Hold on, stand still.
Maybe
Stand still.
Oh, and he gets taken out
They know.
by his team hiding. He did Vida corrected the Savage. Where but Benji is 2v1
Yeah.
now. Still alive somehow.
Oh my
9
God.
7 builds now. He needs to be careful, but I mean, it was all done. It was a valiant effort for Benji, but he's still alive actually. Okay, he's sneaking up. He's being covert, and this player is on low HP. He does get the wall behind him. I don't think this player realizes. Sneaks back through, and does he know it? But Surge, he does know he's there. Surge is gonna take him out. 24 HP, and he cannot heal up anymore. Surge is gonna be the one who takes up Benji and finally somehow survived the absolute anarchy there of multiple players in this box. But there's one thing that is true, and Storm Surge eliminates all.
Absolutely. You can't build past it. You can't hide away from it. And he was out of mats too. Unfortunate. Art skill, that POV we just dipped towards. That's going to be second place looking to take that gold beam and add it towards their inventory to have that luxury. There is no first place team alive right now who can take that title.
I just realized that.
Yeah, and if you look at the half-nap zone here, zone actually does pull, I believe, on top of Pink and Anna. So all of that setup they did prior to set up the high ground is probably now going to be good for them. I'm not sure what layer they're on. I think they're close by, but like I said, you do not need to go crazy on high ground in this half-nap, Shayo.
Absolutely not. 68 points right now. They basically want to class all the way up towards 90. If they get 100 in this game, that'll be absolute huge. But that means they have to survive the entire time. If we could just stay on this POV, I want to see exactly how they break it down. They will be going for right here. They have 2 different pads as well. Can they hold on to being the finessers of this zone entirely? 23 till we see where exactly moves it. I'm liking the fact that they're staying low-key right now.
Yeah, and don't expect them to go for high ground initially, right? They're not going to be going to high ground in first moving. If they do that, I'll sound very stupid, but I don't think they should do that, right? They both have multiple launch pads in the inventory.
Why should they not?
Basically, the reason why you don't want to do it is because you want to use those launch pads effectively, right? If you have 3 launch pads in your inventory, you're going for high ground into first moving, you're basically using materials that you would have saved with those launch pads. Exactly. And with drones pulling far away from them, yet again, they're going to have more time to launch pad, and that's going to be good for them here, Shayo.
Absolutely. Irizumi, very same position. Might not have multiple launch pads, but they have 80 points so far. They might not be controlling high ground completely like Pink and Anas, but they've been consistent over their last 2 games. Now in the 3rd game, they have a spot to even steal that lead from Benji and Savage, and it's about 12 points ahead of Pink and Anas from what we saw before. Irizumi even pops that spicy pepper, a little bit of a speedier glide. We'll see exactly how this looks down. They've checked up top, and what a way to patch all those builds on a single floor, blocking them through there. High and mighty inside the sky. They go straight for that forward position. We see so many teams in good spots all the way towards that final zone make this move first. And Irizumi and leader, they're not all the way towards the low ground. They have no people next to them either. This is such a good spot.
Yeah, they're in a very good spot. They do have those peppers popped as well. And then we go back towards Pink and Anas. You'd see they're holding out. And like I mentioned, they're going to launch pad very slowly towards the front side. Launch pad yet again. And now they're going to evaluate. Is this a good time to take high ground? And it doesn't look like it because there's a lot of people pretty much set up yet. So they can wait until that second moving. And then if second moving pulls north, for example, then they're going to have a lot of materials because they save those materials with those launch pads. So I'm hoping to see a north zone pull because it's going to be a launch pad towards heights in the second moving zone here, Shayo.
Absolutely. Box, they're desperate to find any damage. 79 below. They might be in first. They might have 93 points. Excuse me. Some type of damage. Might get close to 360. This damage is going right now. They dodged the first few strikes as well as Stompy finds more in the feed. True Legs down. Smash taken out by Endless. Side by side, but it's Stompy going all the way up towards the skies. Nylu has to be forced to and 36 damage up for this team. They Spider-Man all the way forward as well. They stop another. The denial is insane.
And you gotta be careful. If you're fighting on the backside of the zone, there's gonna be another team towards the front side taken away from you. You smartly hit Spider-Man towards the front side. Oh, they do reconnect though, but is the damage done? I don't know. They only have 4 more builds in total, and here comes Pink. Like I mentioned, if you're fighting on the backside of the zone, you're going to be using a lot of material, and Pink's being able to save it this entire game here, Shayo. 26 builds left, and they have it into this 8th moving zone.
Oh, they got Stompy, and Pink is still active and alive. The aim electric, the bullet's magnetic, and they're not missing. This is just insane. Anas is there too at the very front of it. That Pink is making as well. He's making sure not a single edit can be made upwards. Mappy's kind of trapped. Seti's right below him too, so they're being forced into a pinch as well. T-Chips though, still in first, taking down Link. Finally, Endlex takes him down, so that might be the first place team not active either. They were close to 95, 98 points. It's 80 so far, but Seti too is also popping up. Picks out Mappy, survives the pinch, and this is where trouble starts.
And I think we're going to get 2 in a row here from Pink and Anas because the zone pulls back over old builds, right? So they have, even though the material count is very, very limited, they're going to be able to stay on top of them, and no one's really going to pressure them because they're all going to go through Shayo.
Absolutely. Seti, though, this is going to be another clutch situation. We saw Janice do it before, but he's out of mats, unfortunately goes down towards the front side. It'll be Endless next squeeze that picked that one up. 26th place for them overall, but they're looking really good. And Austin Pink, again, it's like just walking a dog or something. It's just so simple for them. Every time, business as usual. When it's the desert, these guys make sure everyone else is slow and dry. Pink, once again, another launch forward, and he secures another spot of the high ground.
And it is a game of numbers, right? Even the small launch pad there, you know, it's only 2 to 3 blocks, but every single build counts here. When you go into that final moving zone, that one build might just save them as you have 7 builds after life, Shayo.
Absolutely. Flixie now, he's going to be in trouble. You're talking about every single build. They only have about 6 left. Pick up a few more on the left side. Armored Wall buys them a little bit of time, but it's time that's going to be translated into money, into points right now. The longer you stay alive, the more placement you're going to get, and they're trying to milk every single second so far. Up top is where the roof comes crashing down, and Flixie is the one to pick up all all the mats left around. This is going to be huge for them. Dodging even more sprays. This man has like a shield bubble around him. There's no way he's taking no damage from all this pressure. Right now he's looking down. Lands another big shot. Surge doesn't matter right now. It's only about getting these eliminations and staying alive ahead. Inside this, we have big one from the heavy shotgun slug. It comes straight in. No, it's a pump, but it doesn't even matter. The damage is true. Nailu still alive right now. The Siptos also getting even picked and going all the way up for high ground. 3 builds left. It's not going to be enough. He doesn't have the map to actually go all the way up towards the top, but he has the big shot on the left side. That's an interruption. Flixie's insane. Pink is down.
I don't know.
The med mist might be enough to keep him alive inside the car. The tech is nuts, but no. Driving is not going out today. Anas saves it for now. A 1v1.
He's gonna die.
Let's go, Venus. Let's go get Venus.
Go,
Venus.
He does it.
Go, Venus, one.
Back to back. The Pharaohs rise.
Mans has got a ball.
That is insane.
Oh my goodness, Anas, they're absolutely electric. Kept this cool. I think that play bounced on top of a tire stack or something, because Anas could have lost him for a second there, but he did finally find that tracking, and this is just a fortunate zone there for them again, right? Everyone on low gun, every material, nobody has bats, and Anas here keeping his cool, you know, playing it safely, even tanking a little bit of storm, is able to find the Siptos there for free, and wow, I think that's 2 in a row there for Pink and Anas. I mean, the setup, it was all there to be seen from the start, right? They got those early eliminations at Tova Canyon, they got the vault, they had multiple chug splashes, and that was just free. GG's.
Absolutely. That armored floor, ramp, wall, whatever, like it was absolutely crucial. I think it was one more shot and would have dwindled away. So that was literally a game of inches. I know that the desk will talk for miles. Zeke, Levin, Reese, I mean, what was that?
Ridiculous.
Shio Wager, what is going on in this qualifier number
awesome.
2, guys? Semi-finals
Finals,
we got that. We gotta calm down, okay? My little heart can only take so much of this action, but Shio Wager
Goat has a YouTube channel.
in that call, right? That armored
what?
red, they're being the difference. At that point, that player has to say,
Goat has a YouTube channel.
Okay, now I can't hear you. Don't say it again.
I'm just gonna take this. I'm gonna go in this direction and hope this guy's not a top waiting for me to just get done. But for Pink and Anas, once again, another victory royale. The back-to-back, Levin, it's going down.
Yeah, and we saw it coming from a mile away. Reese and I sitting there in the call just knowing, hey, look, after their off-spawn battles and whatnot, it was clear they were going to have a brilliant game. Of course, they had all the loot you could possibly ask for. The setup for Height Reese was very, very patient, and it's actually something that I think people underrate, right? A lot of the time, you see a bunch of teams fighting for Height, but they're real good high ground teams. They'll stay elevated, they'll wait for all the action to happen, and they'll just sneak on right up and win games, and this is what these guys do so well.
Yeah, the back-to-back doesn't happen just randomly. Like, these guys are experienced. They've been practicing left, right, and center, and they are veterans of the game at this point. Anas has been around for so long. So has Pink, getting a lot more of the limelight this season. Absolutely, it showed in the final moments, right, where Anas had the clutch of the victory royale, and we kind of saw a bit of a difference between Flixie on low ground here, exactly jumping through.
I just want to know who's gonna win.
He's a less experienced player. He's not with a single FNCS final. This is
no, I just watched people going at that before.
Calm, cool, collected, veteran of the game, connects the shots that matters, and picks up the back-to-back.
Yeah, Shai was talking about the Flixie set there. I think you're giving him a bit too much credit. I think there was a bit of panic there from him. But look, they were very impressive in that endgame. Him and Nailu popped off, and that's going to really help them moving forward.
And that's
I think there's how many games?
They're just trying to make it in that top 8. They don't have to be first. They just have to meet that top 8 requirement to go straight through the finals. Let's take a look at our standings right now. It does not look like my read slowly. Okay, so right now, second place, 102 points. That's unfair, guys. But I started from the bottom to the top. Take a look. That is a massive game for them, right? Now they're able to jump up, especially halfway through the competition.
Oh, Benji Fashy.
They're able to say, look, as long as we can hold on. A second place,
they
make top 8. Everything was horribly wrong. They may be able to hold on.
Yeah, look, I'm actually not even that surprised to see Nailu and Flixie here, just because this season so far in Cash Cups, when I've been watching and analysing some of the bigger teams, I always see their names popping about in lower layers, you know, really getting those pop-offs. They are very, very exciting players to watch, and so this could be the start of a really big year for them.
Yeah, their best placement so far is 12th in one of those finals, which is really, really good. Like I mentioned, they haven't made an FNCS finals yet, so with a couple of games remaining, 3 left to go, I'm hoping they don't crack under the pressure.
Just gotta hold on, boys. Just hold on. We got this, but for now, we're getting ready. We're jumping back on the battle bus. Boom, Shai Wager, take it away.
Man, when it comes to these games right now, I think Zeke put it the best in game number 2's post. It's like a semifinals light, even a finals light after the action we're seeing with this one, Duke. I mean, I'm not sure where it goes from here. If we're at the desert again, I might just lose my mind.
Yeah, I think it's very zone dependent, but it's also because the sort of teams that we have in this lobby. I don't think I see many high teams in this lobby, Shabia. A lot of the high teams that we know are all qualified last time.
Next game,
so,
next game starting.
And Visas, all these guys already qualified towards the grand finals guaranteed. So Pink and Anna, they're making use of a very good situation for them. And they're being the only high team here right now, it's doing well for them.
Yeah, it's like a personality switch as well, because you called it in the first game. Anas Pink, kind of a little bit of a passive duo overall. They don't like to take that claim, but when it comes to endgame, everyone has to be adaptable enough to do just that, right? And if you're looking for another banger, we're on the precipice of one right now. Game number 4 is about to get started.
Yep, and we saw a lot of aggression coming out early on, but...
Game 4.
We saw a lot of aggression coming out early on into that last game, and I'm expecting exactly the same this time, and the point discrepancies are going to be even higher, There's going to be a lot of those people, towards the bottom 30 to 40 on the leaderboard. They're trying to play super aggressive now. It is not the time to be eliminated by Surge anymore. Now is the time to pick it up and make things happen, Shayo.
Absolutely, and sometimes you might not see a team pick it up. You might not know exactly how they're in a certain space. I feel like that is the wave for ArtSkill and T-Chips. Once again, just like the Cash Clips we saw in the previous season, they're just there somehow. Top 6, top 5, right now in 2nd overall. In a spot that seems even weird too. Yeah, there's a big vault to be able to, be used, but past that, like, these outpost spots move somehow so effective week after week.
Yeah, everyone seems to love them, but I didn't notice in the feed, I saw Anas get an early elimination. So maybe that was because of the bus path, or maybe someone is trying to make something happen here. I would love to see that later on, just a little bit of replay maybe, as we have this early game fight. Let's say, oh no, never mind, they're just going back in. They got a taste of blood the last game, and they want more, Shayo.
Absolutely. This is going to be super early, though. That's the part I'm kind of worried about. And you mentioned it, early Elam.
Oh my God, look how much
but then, okay, I like this. Getting out of dodge and making sure you're not going to be inside the preliminary equation. They want to be like option B of the overall test, right? They want to be the second question, the multiple choice after the fact.
And this is a final match.
They got that first Elam.
Second
being bullied and really being the bait to the final second. That man's HP is low.
Get yourself a teammate like Anas.
No one knows when he gets
down the mountain and risked his ankles to come help his boy out, and it worked out for them. That's going to be early Storm Surge for them as well. And it seems like someone's trying to shake it up just a little bit. It looks like Pink's loop path is getting disrupted just a little bit, but Pink, has that perfect drop. Pink is one of those players that is prepared some of the motion, who's played so much practice. He's done so much VOD, has a coach, has everything in his arsenal to do well, and he's showing that off today. As Savage this time, having a consistent off-spawn strategy. This time, they're shaking it up. They're pushing towards Kinzo and Deceptos, and Deceptos gets taken out early on now.
Yeah, I mean, consistency is one of the essences of surprise, right? If you keep things completely consistent on your drop, it makes it that much easier to have a little bit of a jump scare on the team that's next to you. So right there, Savage and Benji not engaging whatsoever. Deceptos might have been a little bit overall confused, lackadaisical. He's moving around kind of free-formed, and Savage capitalizes on that, picks it up. Should be a close range fight they were having. Looks like they took control of a spot they don't usually go to in Tilted, and because of that, Savage has a free Elam.
And this is a little bit scary though, because we're only in game number 4, right? We have 2 more games after the show, so you really don't want to be messing with your neighbors, especially when you're in a position to qualify, right? Benji and Savage, 94 points right now. They are in that 6th position, so if Kinzo and Deceptos, if they have a bad game or they have another bad game after this one, they might say, you know what, let's push Benji and Savage. It doesn't matter anymore to us because they griefed us in game number 4. But looking at the leaderboard so far, Kinzo and Deceptos are actually tied on points with Benji and Savage on 91 points. So this is maybe a play for leaderboard, taking out the players that are next to you, and maybe that gives you just that little inch in order to qualify to top 8, Child.
Absolutely. There's a lot of time, though, inside Tilted to be able to stay around there, right? And you're not going to be able to guard the card as much. Savage, you mentioned, maybe one of the mistakes they're making is they're taking too long in Tilted.
No.
They're not getting enough surge. That might have been an answer to their surge overall, but they need to move now. So as a result, yes, that 91-point tie. But Kinzel's going to get Deceptos right back up. They'll still be in the game, and they'll be looking for revenge.
Yeah, for sure. And it might make a little bit of a difference as we move over towards
Alex.
also now trying to play aggressive on Fast Roki and Kylie. You know, those guys, I expect them to be
hear me?
chonkers the majority of
Yeah.
the final.
Okay,
They've been
yeah, my
talking about
mic's
it a
out, but I
lot
think
on
that's
Twitter.
it.
Chonkers, it's our chonkers. But when it comes to the real finals and there's actual things on the line, looks like they've
Why you
given
just
it up.
cats in the face?
There's a lot of talk coming out.
No,
I
no.
love it. I love the drama.
Time to add jets, mommy.
Those spots, but
None.
sometimes you just get to take action for your
Why
words, and they're not doing
Jets,
it.
mommy?
But they do have 41
Did you
points
just
right now.
use
So
the
it's
add
not
Jets,
too
mommy?
bad, right? I guess they're sort of
Maybe.
appreciating the fact that they can do better than the different
I'm
spots.
payment
Don't
and
make
bad,
ego
mother.
for those spawn fights. But Alex and X3 is here. They're trying to
I
play
just
aggressive
added
on them. And Kylie now
What?
is for spot 0 builds in the box, tries to whip out the pistol. Only has 14
Think
ammo
add
in that
jets, mommy.
SMG, as Alex is trying to get a sneaky revive here on X3. Kylie's also doing it. They try to trade, but Alex has a shield advantage, and that's more than enough here for Fast Roki to eliminate him. And Andalex there on his 40 points, 2 eliminations now, and Surge settled, and has a pretty good zone to rotate to as well.
Absolutely.
Hey,
One thing
but
I like
yeah,
a lot, just the
there's
backfight
but
specifically, and
someone I know who's
fading
gonna
out the
win.
chunk splash noise, making
Oh,
it feel like they're
oh,
going to
that's
be trading
Falcon
reses, right?
Alex.
That was genius. And then
Still
immediately
gonna-
pushing. Right now, too, in terms of contestation, only one contested team has kind of won so far when we're looking at how things are rolling, too, right, when it comes to the victory royale. So the thing right now is if you have a free, clear type of mind overall when you're looking at how the games are being played, you have that set loop path that you're pushing so much, Loop, right? In terms
Come
of
on,
being able
Jess,
to get that
Mom,
practice and be
Ryan.
able to get that
Oh,
familiarity,
it's a
and
Celtic
you're having a
skin.
much easier time getting to that victory royale.
Yeah, for sure. As we hop on board now with Kinzo, he's trying to get his boy back up in the Siptos. Looks like Savage and Benji, they're hovering the area. Actually, I think Savage might be camping that card. It was over near that garage side of the buildings. But, Kinzo, the time is ticking. He still has a lot of time, I think. It should be fine. But unfortunately for him, the first zone does center near Tilted. So there's actually zero reason for Savage and Benji to do anything but wait here. They can farm the material. They have a bit of surge. And because they have priority on this rotate against the other Tilted
No,
team...
no, don't leave, don't leave.
You have that
Hey,
team in
do you
North
want to
Tilted,
run
they're
up some
really
doors?
blocking out your rotate. In this situation, they're the team that's deciding the rotates. And they have all the time in the world here to make something
Oh,
happen.
no,
Like, I
Jordan.
don't think the Siptos should shoot at this.
What? What? One sec.
Make your party public.
Hey, so is this? He just got into the live chat audio.
Stompy, this team entirely just seems like they've had a little bit of trouble, a misstep even that cost them the entire game. It's not even, a completely wrong
That's annoying,
calculation
though.
or a big mistake, just a slight error
So,
sends them spiraling into a
keep
place
these
they don't really want to be in. And at the Bugle, we saw this in qual number 1.
How many
It is
things
tough
are-
to get
No,
out of the
do not
spot
put this
with a
point in
card
public
and
eye.
get back under your game in a good pace, right? It gets really, really difficult. Right now, Anas and Pink as well,
Hang on.
denying a little bit of the damage.
You
What
know
I
that-
was assumed would be Kriachi and Stormy right. Curious to see exactly who it is. It is they're going right beside Sleepy Sound and or Logjam Lumberyard. Excuse me. This should be the spot that they could back up to if they're leaving Covert Tavern. But the issue is it's going to be a team that's
Oh,
not
no, this is fine.
be able to scout out the grounds and possibly push forward. And that's and Awesome Pink in trouble in
He
first place.
keeps saying,
This is what I mentioned, right? 4th game now. Reaction Storm in 18th place with 45 points. So they're trying to be proactive instead of reactive. They were eliminated in 13th place in game number 1, 22nd in game number 2, and 25th in game number 3. So that surge really affecting them in this final. And now they're trying to play super aggressive against Pink and Anas, and trying to make an opportunity happen because they need elimination in order to catch up. They had a decent finals last week, and hopefully for my prediction they have a better one this time. But so far it's not too good.
Not too good for the moment.
Daniel's
but
only
get some damage
3
and get out.
obviously.
That was the goal. Sometimes you don't even commit to the entire fight. For Gore, it might be a little bit different. Slove right behind him. Gonna be having a little bit of a pinch over here, but he can't go over to the left side. The hardwood actually misses and hits the enemy instead of the build. That's huge. And another just walking forward pump. It's actually Chico going down. Trulex. That was the first team I was talking about in game 1 that keeps getting keyed. It seems like they're our bullied duo of the day. No matter where they're trying to reposition to, there's a team that finds them and then just dives in the box.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chulix and Chico again getting eliminated by
Michael
another
please?
team in the mid-game aggression.
Yeah.
The games where they aren't getting pushed out, they placed top 10 in every single game so far. But they gotta survive. You gotta be careful because there's aggressive teams in this lobby, and if you can't handle the heat, you gotta get out of the kitchen.
You gotta get somewhere. I don't know where to
away from the kitchen, maybe.
Away from other teams, but there's just teams playing. That's so unfortunate for Team X 2. The harpoon kind of just solidifies everything. And the fact that Gore just like has the focus to just keep going, even though he's getting so much damage dealt to him. The trust in his teammate Slove to get the trade. I mean, ultimately, that trade didn't need to come through. He had the damage himself. It's still kind of nuts. Kins all the Ziptos back on their feet. The Ziptos on low HP, and this time they're getting chased. But for Texia, this is going to be a tough ride away.
Yeah, and this is the team, you know, these guys, they have struggled with surgery inside the game. When there's a nice little cake right in front of you that's rebooting for you, you're going to take that opportunity to get everything that you can. Kinzo and Deceptor's only going to have those 150 wood in total, as Kinzo has to pad away. 21 builds for him. Deceptor gets left in the dust, and he's going to be the bait. He says, he says, Kinzo, run away, my friend, because I will be your sacrifice. And Kinzo will have to do it yet again because Deceptos goes down, unfortunately, and it is another waiting game for Kinzo to help his boy out.
I might not even need stats for this next claim, but I think Deceptos is the
he's only got
player in the lobby that's given away the most Elam points to other teams so far. That's 4 in total. This man has gone down twice, and Vortexia and Castry, they're still searching for Kinzel.
Yeah, I mean, you want to maximize, right? Like, if you can solve your surge right now, then do it. There's no reason for you to play passively, you know, let this guy run away from you. But, you know,
the first qualifier, I bet you, because it'd be too hard with all the space.
Maybe he feels like Kinzo's nearby in this bush, but no, he doesn't seem to know it yet. And we're running out of places here for Kinzo to reboot. You know, you can only reboot someone twice, I feel like. And there you go, the replay of it happening. Vortexia with that Stinger SMG to jump in through. Crawl from the outside trying to trade tags as well, and that is just I feel bad for him, man. He has not had a fun game this time.
Doesn't there 3 people in the server?
Because Kinzo, being the good and valiant teammate that he is gonna try to reboot him yet again, and I feel like he's gonna meet the same fate.
Well, 43 squads.
I'm wondering what the maximum amount of points a single player is given.
If only it was
I think Kinzo's win for a record right now.
It
might be. I think he hit 8.
Oh,
I mean, might as well hit a record
4 times.
That's my prediction for this game. You know, if you're gonna do anything this game, if the game's gonna be a throwaway, you know, might as well get the world record while you're at it, you know. And the 103 below surge, actually, we might not even
Why are they stealing and storm using shield?
Kinzo and Deceptos. Now comes Meowsy as Cassie and Vortexia are gonna hold it out yet again. And you know, this skin is this outfit, is so recognizable. And you know, they know this is the solo, and they're gonna be pushing in. SMGs coming through. Kinzo from both sides, and Vortexia and Castry take them both out, and that's gonna be a good start for their game here. You know, the surge is settled; they don't have to worry about it anymore. But for Hookah and Zessen here, you know, everything aggressively in Kondo Canyon, their surge is not settled as they're gonna get pushed out here.
They're gonna be tough. Hookah at some moments has, like, you know, really good swings when we're getting enough damage done right in front of them. This is going to be nice control box like a present, and Christmas is way past. Hookah's just going to be pushing forward and getting every elimination that he wants to, no matter what. Sirs is the one going knocked down and then completely eliminated. Past that, one more player just left right in front of him, and they know he has no shields. They know he's kind of healing up right now. Look at all the loot they got. 2 MK7s to switch into, shield kegs, Spider-Man's web shooters as well. This is just an absolute, you know, treasure chest of an elimination.
It's good to see a little bit of diversity in the zones as well. You know, going to get a little bit of greenery, not all that yellow sand that we're so used to. So, you know, Pink and Anas going to have to adapt just a little bit to this different type of zone, but it's not too bad of a one, as you have Link here and Default still on this backside of Tilted. You know, trying to get held out now. Storm Surge is going to activate. 81 people left alive. So one of the biggest surges we've had so far. And Element of Floki here on the left side. On top of multiple players. They're trying to scout out, trying to find something. As Link now goes back down Surge, and they do have a lot of shield though, so there's no reason for them to yet, but you know, they're going back.
Yeah, and right now there's going to be a team up top that is going completely down. I just saw Anas go down in the feed. Pink did get a little bit of a trade. Coco fighting Anas. I'm pretty sure that's one of the teams that lands inside a little bit and goes back and forth. There's Joe and Vino. Not exactly sure what's going on there, but it's all up to Pink now. White damage up on top of Volko. He's going to go straight for that big finish. 360 surge, so they've been fighting for a long time, a little while. Splashes as well. Yeah, Pink is going all in. Drop 2 more as well. No, Volko will actually drop down towards the ground. Pink is going forward and has a little bit of control, but this time on one side. Matt's picked up on one. He's maxed out on all fronts, and he has chances to go for a rebuild on his both sides. Too many people here at all. This elimination.
And I like the aggression from Pink, right? He realizes there's very limited options in this situation. He needs to get this elimination as quickly as he can because Zone is ticking down. There's 4 more seconds to Zone, and the longer that you wait on this fight, the longer it is going to be for you to beat your teammates. And you need to be eliminating this play as quickly as possible here because you're putting yourself in a decent spot to set up. And now comes some good mechanics out of Pink. The player gets beat from the other side, but Pink doesn't realize it. He's in the box, and he's down now to 30 white health. Unfortunately for him, that play does get siphoned, and Pink is gone. Game number 4 is not for Pink and Anas, and I feel like this is a bit of a snowball from that early game, right? They got landed on by another team, and then got pushed up by Curiosity Storm, right, yet again. And you know, the sort of mojo and the flow here is getting disrupted. And now with a different type of zone, this is something, you know, you're gonna get these sort of curveballs thrown at you in Fortnite, and sometimes you get to adapt, and sometimes it's just really tough.
Look who joined with it's 4 people, and the other one's a Joker. That's just funny. He is fast, he was Harley Quinn.
All they have to do is to stay alive towards an end game, have a chance at being top 3, because if you stay alive, literally, they win back-to-back.
Yeah, I mean, might as well win 2 games and then be eliminated early on to the next game. That's fine, you know. As long as you have the consistency, you know, so far, they've been eliminated in 22nd, won 2 games in a row, so this time, being eliminated in mid-game, so surely they win the last 2 games of this final as well, Shayo.
Yeah, and how does that change in terms of this game for every team? They had a launch pad before they went down. There's a lot less rotation available for a bunch of people that are going to be on the map. A lot of people like to just reuse these pads, and Pink and Anas are always in one of the best spots to use them for everyone to recycle as well. So that won't be a part of the business so far.
He is getting Joker.
Look at it. I see an inch of land inside where we're going so far. It'll be the absolute center point of the map.
Just so you can play as Joker and I can play as Mate Mantis.
That's all I can see.
I don't know if you're the analyst, Shai, or if I am, but that brings up
Whatever.
That's how Mate is coming back.
And there's a strategy that a lot of these players can do. If you remember,
Add the Joker as the friend. Add the Joker as the friend.
They wear every single game. If you box them right next to them, guess
what
you
you
get?
Nice. He's
2 launch pads for free every single time. So this is sort of a strategy I've seen a lot of people doing solos as well. If you know a team or if the player is near an airdrop, for example, or a supply drop, so you know this player is going to have a guaranteed launch pad.
Add the Joker.
Play right next to them. So that's a very high level strategy that can come out of some of these players. I don't know how easy it is to remember the outfit of another player though, because obviously,
can you see his name?
You know, they're going to be changing this. They're going to be changing those every single game, but you know, it's worthwhile to think about.
2015.
They'll be on one of the sides of the zone as well, right?
Exactly, north side.
2015.
Look towards the north, look towards the west side. It is a zone that's kind of like this. The one thing I like about these zones too, I'm a very kind of lore-based individual. I like to make up weird storylines in my head when I'm watching. You end up getting like continents of players and boxes that kind of build their own histories. I feel like everyone coming in from the east side is fighting a lot more, right? Because the zone is slightly a little bit more northern.
He has a foundations method.
A lot less match there, a lot more chances for a big box
This guy.
on the right big bases that are being built. Everywhere along the left, though, that'll be people who are very well off. Haven't had to move too much so far. They'll be looking a little bit better.
It just dropped the foundations mythic for everyone.
Poverty line kind of split way down right the middle diagonally. Everyone on the top left looking good. The bottom right kind of hungry to see what happens next. And no one is going to be near the center at all. I feel like they might be forced to beat in a little bit of a second, but it'll be cool to see if the rich will have to move first on the top left side, or the people who are struggling a little bit more. Hookah and Zestin right now, who are low on mats, an inventory slot out, no rotation really. The bottom right will have to keep moving and keep up with the rich of the lobby.
All I know is I do not want to be that team on the bottom left of the map, right? If that joke does not pull to you, all the eyes are going to be on top of your face. And when you launch pad as well, oh, did you actually get a package here? So maybe that, I mean, that is sort of a bittersweet thing, right? Because even if you launch pad in the situation, everyone's going to see that poor little team on the edge of the map, ready to launch pad. That is 3 eliminations for this lobby. 1 more seconds to go, and I'm waiting for it. Oh my goodness, they get it. Somehow they've read the zone. Their brain is bigger than mine, so it doesn't matter.
Still 57 people.
Well, so those guys are vibing, Shia.
Yeah, more importantly for the rest of the lobby too, the poor will have to move once again. The rich part of the lobby ends up getting 2 care packages as well, 2 airdrops to launch pads. I mean, that's just insane. They get even richer. Now everyone else on the right side. This is where surge issues Vico right now, he's going to be in so much trouble moving forward. Alex is also going through it right
Good
above
day,
him.
go Chris.
In front, everyone's just kind of boxed out, having
Good day.
trouble.
Good day, go Chris. Good day, go Chris. Day.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of inexperience coming out. I
Good
believe
day,
Vico
go Chris.
isn't
Good
a
day,
player
go
that
Chris.
makes many finals lobbies, right? He's a very competent solo player. Struggled, I think, last week. This week, qualifying for the finals. You know, a little bit of inexperience coming out. He's doing pretty well.
Day.
53
Good
points
day.
in total.
Good
But,
day,
you know,
go Chris.
sometimes
Good
the
day,
surge
go
just doesn't
Chris.
go for you, and that's depending on the zone. But, you know, what is going to be good this game is for Benji and Savage, right? This is a very good zone for them. They've struggled with having to move
Good day.
across the
Go
map
crazy.
the entire time.
Good day,
And now
go
zone
crazy.
is
Good day,
basically
go
in the
crazy.
backyard, and they have a pretty good spot to set up here, as you know, we're multiple teams here with no launch pads, and this is basically going to be a reverse of what I expected from
Good
the
day.
teams on the island.
Good day.
As there's going to
Good day,
be
go
lots
crazy.
of eyes
Good day,
on
go
you.
crazy.
And Vico, unfortunately, you don't ever want to shoot the players right in front of you, because you know those guys are going to turn back. You're going to make so much noise, and everyone's going to realize that you're there. But he was
Good
put
day.
into such a
Good
different
day.
position.
Good day,
Needed
go
that
crazy.
surge,
Good day,
and
go
had no
crazy.
choice but to shoot, and he gets eliminated there in 26th place. But it's eerily quiet, Shayo. I feel like, oh, never mind, there's an SMG.
All rely on it to have a little bit of a rattle, but yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. What people don't want to do right now is make anyone mad. There is no insurance in this zone whatsoever. You end up making a mistake and you need to move, especially if the zone is this low, this squished down. You're in the water right now, so everyone's just biding their time, waiting for the next zone to come in. And yeah,
This is gonna be a long one.
Kind of go straight over towards land, get overboard,
still got like
get right
4 more
back
rounds
into the brass tacks of Fortnite. They're going to be right off the water. This is good for a majority of teams. The issue is, I'm looking at a little bit of a ramp. And, like, you know, if you're doing an incline walk for 40 minutes, your legs get tired. Right now, it's not muscles that are going to be strained for a lot of teams. It'll be their mats. Moving upwards, especially from a low ground position, you're going to have the sickest possible builds. And at the same time, everyone on the right side, there's not too many launch pads here either. It's going to be tough for them to move. Some people already low on HP. Even setting in chat picks, uncharacteristically, when inventory stock is getting down, surge down as well. They have to move. They're swimming. They're desperate. This just looks like trouble.
I'm very curious to see who takes over high ground in this first movie, right? We have Pink and Anis dominating in that second to third moving zone now, but they're not in this game anymore, so I'm very curious to see who wants to go up for it. And I have a feeling it might be Benji and Savage trying to go up for it because they have a very close by zone. They're going to have a higher average material count compared to the lobby, so hopefully we'll see some action on height here.
It's going to be action on height, survival on low, though. Somehow Hookah and Destin still
go
alive. The last
good day, go Chris.
in,
Good day, go
the
Chris.
first one out.
Okay,
about produce rules, that's exactly what
I want the
they're
last
doing
laugh
right
bundle to come back in.
116 below. Hookah hanging on by it.
Alexa, when will the last laugh bundle come out?
A crevice, a crack, no, nothing. They have one wall plane.
Is one of the build?
But it's only on towards them. Hookah now down to 1
Tactics do quest for the last bundle, or just taking a
just one man
Okay.
with a mission. Absolutely catastrophic in terms of a position to try to take back first, but there's a chance there for Elims to see what they can do. On the other side, Vino and Joe, you're asking who has height. It's the Covert duo themselves, and they're not hiding anymore. They're ready to play.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, right? These guys had the most launch pads in the lobby. They have those Spider-Man gauntlets as well. They are the most aggressive duo in the lobby, and with that high fire rate, golden SMG there.
Well, it's so annoying as well. See when the last bundle came out?
Yeah.
See when the last bundle came out? I played Fortnite still.
So much experience, has the biggest brain.
See, master, the last bundle. Last laugh bundle. And name short once.
Oh no! What about the sound effects?
100C, con 100C. That's Pressy's partner.
By one of the webs that's there, and then actually just adjusts in midair like Spider-Man or something. Finds a pad. Only Savage gets into situations like that and stays alive.
Let's go,
How does this keep happening, Shayo?
I think he might have died.
How does it keep happening every single time I say something nice, they just get destroyed by something random? But Jew here, surely doesn't have to do, right? 3 eliminations, he has 7 builds. The zone is going to pull slightly back, though.
I don't think Hookah goes in here.
But Savage here finds another shot on another player. He's going to play this very slowly. He's not going to jump in aggressively.
100
He's going to
take
and buy this time if he finds slow way there. That's probably only going to give him slight materials in this position, but that's good enough. He doesn't have the armor to set himself up, though. There you go. 22 builds in total, but he's held out and he's stuck below this mountain. Now it's due it's all about survival now against Stormrat and Kiriachi. There's Armored Walls coming greatly into effect. They're going to be able to hold out, but there's another web there, Shayo.
What? He just keeps getting moved up.
Good
This is crazy.
day.
But Savage makes it happen. Now his master out. Needs to find a shot in the pick, but it's not
Fine.
possible. That's a different side of the zone. He's getting an
I'm just gonna give my feet a massage.
That's gone, and now it's up to T-Chips and his teammate Art.
Because my controller's vibrating.
Hard find up top, and this time him and Nova have finally seen an end game. They don't want to go down now. They're trying to rain a few shots up top, keep that pressure up. It's not going to be enough. So far, they go for a few.
They're going to make people left.
Down below. There's still one more
Oh,
team
yeah.
that's in the mix. Jude's finally down.
Okay, watch now. Sit down and watch.
You gotta be careful though, there's that massive log in the middle of this end game, and you cannot build around it, so they maneuver themselves around to the left side, and Heartskill, there 11 eliminations in total. Heartskill and T-Chips on 5 eliminations as well, but the math are running out very slowly. There's still 90 seconds left on the zone, and I don't think there's much you can do in this position here. It's all about biding your time. You gotta be very passive, you gotta be a little bit careful, but I feel like they could spray their SMGs just a little bit more, Shayo.
Absolutely, the final shutdown's in. It's an absolute all-in, and it's hard find that finds a flush all the way on low ground. That's what I'm talking about. What a breakdown. They keep it simple. They keep it smooth.
Cool.
That's what we like to see, and that's
What Darwin?
Crazy though.
What Darwin? Are you from India? I hope not. Are you from India?
Yeah, these
Indian
zones are
scammer.
so brutal. We saw this in the other game as well.
Indians are the worst for scammers.
Everyone's material counts are just low. And you know, the team that does the most...
Indians are the worst for scamming.
Those are the ones who have the most height going into that final moving zone. And they're going to have more of those times, more of those positions in order to set themselves up. And that's a 3 win there for Hardfight. And with that big elimination win, that gets them boost them all the way up on the leaderboard here.
Are you an Indian scammer? Because I am going blue and will let mommy do that body. So are you from an Indian scammer? Are you an Indian scammer, my G? I hope not. Because all scammers are Indian. Scammers are Indian. This is no racist, but all of them are Indian. All of them are Indian, and you know it. All of the scammers are Indian, and it's not racist, because it's true.
Yeah,
all of the Indians are scammers.
Coach Harry, I know he's been doing some work with Hardfind. Clearly, it's paying off. They were able to get the dub here. But look, Boop, spot on there, right? This zone was eventually going to come. You know, it always comes at some point. But it's so
Chris.
the teams is very, very hard to deal with.
Good day, go, Chris.
Very consistent over the course of the games.
Yeah, they've been absolutely popping off. Like, game after game after game, getting deep into endgame, second, first, whatever it is, they are up deep in there. But we got to give props to Mr. Savage. Let's be real. Yeah. He was down in 5th, and that solo clutch was 30 points by himself, by the way. 30 points to manage to fly them up, which was absolutely huge. It was unfortunate to see Benji go down to the back of the zone. A rough first moving indeed, but this is the kind of thing Mr. Savage is absolutely known for. Mr. Savage is in his perfect form. He's in his final form, may I say, at this particular moment. Every single time you watch him, it is a highlight reel. And that gameplay that you just saw from him, the building off the web, the utilization of cover from being deep out inside the zone on multiple occasions, absolutely big-brained, and it's just what Mr. Savage is all about.
Yeah, man, the ability to sort of stack your rotations, sit behind, look for everyone to get ahead of you, and then just sort of walk your way in. And of course, hitting shots like that on the snowman. 5 good, nice. Yeah, he is on one today. And look, people call him one of the greatest solo players ever. And it's not an exaggeration. He just tries to get into that element, get into. Remember some of the show talking about snapping it on right? He is just on point. Mr. Savage, man, what a player. Can't wait to see where they are now in the standards after that clutch.
Well, let's take a look together. Let's see how things are going, Levin. Remember, that was game number 4. We still have 2 games left to go, and we want to try and make it in that top 8 if we look to auto-qualify going to finals 2 weeks from today. Right now, Kinzel Decepto in 9th place, knocking on that door, right, trying to make it in. But once again, we turn our to the very top of that board. Eliandra, I'm so sorry.
Whatever I want.
Art skill is well, 143 points. Now, once again, we've kind of seen
whatever I want, but nothing racist.
Talk about it all last year, and we're seeing it here once again. Right? Savage, he didn't necessarily get the victory out. He didn't get a ton of eliminations, Levin, but what he needed to do was that top 5, right? Because those points,
that's fine, because we're not questioning.
Yeah, nah.
I will have my fun with that.
I said at the start of the show I was predicting them because of the hope, but this is going beyond hope. This is really coming into these last 2 games, and you know, I hope they can sort of hold on to this. I hope there's no choking involved whatsoever, because everything is setting up well for them. Of course, we talked about the KY2, it's a great spot. Don't have to worry about the zone variation too much. So as long as they can stay how they've played so far, hopefully they will be in that top 8 by the end.
Yeah, remember I said the qualification now. They were in that first place. You saw them now drop down to 6th place just from losing out in that one game, right?
That's right. I can't. It's coming down to the wire here. You know, with 2 games left, some duo is going to turn this entire qualifier to on it
this was so
shake
rough.
things. Dude, it was.
This was so rough because he doesn't get the siphon, because I think Vino in the distance gets the elimination and steals it away from him. So he could have actually survived that, but he just barely missed on the elimination.
Question.
To see that
it's right, man. Sometimes it just be like that. It's Fortnite. Some things will happen, duels will rise, and others will fall. But you guys heard that battle bus, which means we're getting ready to jump aboard once again. 2 more games before we wrap up the day in Europe. So for now, let's send it back on over with Hoop and Shy Wager for game number 5.
Game number 5. This is where, if you're on the bottom of the leaderboard, it's time to rise up. You only have 1 more chance to get your name into the pot before it gets pulled on that final tally on the leaderboard. If you're on top of that ladder, it's time to play defense. That's T-Chips, Art Skill, that's Benji and Mr. Savage, PKR, Mappy, bunch of teams that are there past that 100-point threshold and want to hold on.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy still. You can still do it in 2 games. The point difference between that top 8 position and about 20th place is about 30 points. So basically 1 victory royale will put yourself up there. So it is still everything to play for. And everyone at the top, you can't get too comfortable unless your name is T-Chips and Art Skill, because you can still be knocked out of that top 8 as we go back to the absolute anarchy that is Chonkers, I feel like. And I mean, it's already over before it even starts there, as they get eliminated. Swilliam and Lecce, you know, finally winning it out again. I think they're doing a little bit better compared to last week, which is, you know, it's always good to see improvement from them. We always love to see Lecce on top, Shayo.
Absolutely. I feel like I have like a morning routine now with these games as well. I got to start watching Floki and Clement get bopped. More action on Chonkers until we move on past that as well. But you can see across like all the regions we're looking at right now, it's Booga and Miro, 2 big names, right, from NA East that are rolling in with success in Chonkers and really moving on to the next portion of the competition. That might just change a little bit inside semifinals. We'll see exactly what breaks down before these qualifiers right now. It is very difficult to kind of get out of here and claim this spot entirely.
Yeah, I wonder if Booga and Miro were uncon in Chonkers. I'm not too sure about that, but in EU there are so many teams at Chonkers, so that statistic makes a lot of sense, right? Everyone's a piece of those coolers, and you know, if that happened, then obviously the teams that are landing there aren't going to do that well, because they're all trying to fight out for that loot. Lecce here with that nice little heavy shotgun popping through, and that is Floki and Clement's game done very, very swiftly.
Wow, okay, so Gore's also rolling in. Stena and Rayad taking out a team that's also very defensive off of spawn, especially in duos. Getting cracked. You don't usually see that every single game from them. So the aggression on the north side is still really raining forward. The question is, what do things look like now? But we're talking about patterns, maybe getting aggressive a little bit too early on inside these games. Is game 4 a good time to chomp down on the duo that's contesting you? Benji and Savage thought so. And right now, that might be trouble for them, because Deceptos and Kinzel, they might clap back.
Yeah, I think game 5, I mean, obviously Kinzel and Deceptors, they could be very emotional about this, right? They could try to fight back towards Benji and Savage, but these guys, I don't think that's within them. I don't think they need to do that. They're in 9th place right now. If they were a little bit further behind, I feel like they wouldn't make more drastic decisions in that position, but being just off that edge, that has to do something to you psychologically. You have to feel that pressure to not mess up in the early game, so there's no point to push out this, Io.
Absolutely, you want to just stay secure, and I'm liking that pattern as well from Pink, Anas, and every team at Covert Cavern this game as well. It's really fun to watch though, because one slip up there on the mountain, you're straight up into another duel's box, and those are some high placing teams right now. Pink and Anas in 6th overall. Mustache Malabuka, I mean, I expected a few greater things today overall, but it looks like Camp Cuddle has been a little bit of a problem for them to get out of. This off-spawn contestation, it's sticky, it's lasting longer today as well. And then on the back end of it, Mustache once again, shield crack, has to walk back to Malabuka. They split up that shield, they're ready to go again, but the pressure's on.
Yeah, and these guys have been haunting them for such a long time. every single practice session, every single duo cash cup, the boys, Smeky and Gabix, the Italians, they are there haunting them. And you would expect Malibuca and Murstache to do, much better in these spawn fights, but I feel like a lot of the strengths come from the late game, right? They have the best clutches in late game, but the early game fights sort of not going their way, unfortunately. They don't have the material to sort of play the sort of play style, and now, looking at the point, that reflects it. 44 points in total while being contested. Definitely tough. I think they have their issues with Sturgeon in stack lobbies. I think it is sort of a blessing in disguise sometimes to be contested, especially when you're such an aggressive and strong fighting duo, but today that opportunity just hasn't presented itself.
It's very, very tough, and it just kind of gives me a little bit of a flashback, some reminiscence of Steamy Stacks, right? But even over there, they can just bunker down in brick and metal. It's very hard to break through walls, farm, and get found out. Over here, the lodge is all just wood, and it can get set ablaze at any time. Big sprays would jump up and down from his opponents. Moustache can't find the finishing shot. Now Malibuca is hung out to dry by himself. They've taken high ground somehow. This entire fight is flipped on its head, but it's also reset because there's lots of chug splashes down below. That team now fully healed, ready to go. And Malibuca, he's feeling the pain from all of this. Barely any mats, barely any shields, just hanging on by a thread. Tyzon's the one that's creeping up from the left, but he gets bopped twice. The double SMG spray, they're still split apart. Where is Moustache? There is no help. He's been kind of just evaded the entire time. Tyzon and Schmecky have the God movement, and yeah, there's a little bit of peering in from the windows, but that little bit of shopping might not be enough. You need to get in there, make some transactions, get some damage down. You can't just look at the clothes right from the outside. This is just tough for this team.
Yeah, and I think Moustache tried to play it a little bit smartly, right? He had that high ground advantage. In his early game fights, you really want to stay on top of high ground. You want to whittle down your opponent's materials. He made that big push to go for his high ground, but Malibuca was sort of stuck down below there. You can get all of the advantages on high ground, but if your teammate's not there, then it's not going to work out for you. As Moustache now, with those 6 builds, tries to go back down, but he is just in such a tough spot here. And these guys are unrelenting with this Stinger spray. 2 more builds left in total. He's able to run through the maze, though, surviving a little bit longer, but I don't see any chance he can survive this.
This is why you practice all those edits. He's been given about 3 or 4 very good timed pump shots. Somehow he's still making this an absolute big cost of time for Tyson to clasp down on, but there was almost a possibility there for a 1v2. He had about 3 or 4 shots that he could have hit a bit harder and made it a 1v1. Unfortunately, with all the pressure there, with a teammate down, with game 5 on the line, with the contestation and the SMGs spraying in your brain, it's tough to have that reaction.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit worried for Malibuca and Murstache, right? I think they are basically guaranteed to be qualified to the semifinals or the heats. But, with only having sort of one lobby of heats, with that constantly being refilled, you're going to be meeting up with these guys every single time, right? So if you're not winning these spawn fights, then I don't know exactly how you're going to be able to qualify to the finals, because you're not going to be consistent. You're not going to be winning games either. So we might not see a grand final with Malibuca and Murstache, and that scares me a little bit.
Yeah, that's not like EU. They need to be there. I feel like the one way you can do it is just not be in the same heat as the people that are contesting you. And like one big thing too, when it comes to, the qualifiers to semis right before finals storylines, is sometimes spots open up, right? People are already qualified. You might be able to move your drop spot, go somewhere else, qualify, and then come back. Those questions, though, are not in the mind of Jeff and Keandro right now. They're focused on surviving this fight in front of them, and that focus might be faltered by pump shots left and right. A big one there, though, with a trade. He goes for the finish and doesn't get it. Those Elam points, the 3 that he might desperately need, are not going to be there. Kiko and Mosh finally win a fight.
But they're getting chopped out now. He does use those Spider-Man, though, to get off of it. But Mosh, not so fortunate. They're breaking his legs, I believe, as Kylie now trying to push up towards them as well. And Mosh and Kiko, they're seeing red in the eyes. They're trying to push every single team nearby them. And I think it's sort of a reaction to being contested on spawn in Joneses, right? Again, they're trying to chase that team from Joneses away from them. But every time they're running into a different sort of team, not the ones that they're looking for. And they run into Kylie and Fastroki. I mean, Jeff doesn't even land in Joneses either, I believe. So, unfortunately, the game's sort of being thrown away, but maybe this is again a push for offering the drop spot, maybe for heat, for something else, who knows, because the final is out here.
Not at all, and right now it's unfortunate too for Fastroki and Kylie. The longer this fight lasts, the less resources, the less loot they gain overall from actually finishing it. Kiko already went for 2 launch pads, 4 Spider-Man charges. Through those they need to finish this fight immediately. Try to get at least a little bit out of this, because I know they're going to be full up on minis anyways, but Kiko might clap back. He has the potential. He blocked off 2 different sight lines and hit a nice shot. Very good trade. That shouldn't be possible, but he's not on that wall. A nice little triangle edit with a big shot in for Fastroki. They finally clasp it down.
Yep, that was a little bit too easy. It didn't take that long, so fortunately Kiko not going to be able to live there, as we have another player just getting jumped in on the box by Kaizen there, also near those islands. And, you know, it's kind of quiet now. 74 players left alive now. Players are trying to play a little bit more aggressive yet again, and we might even get second zone surge here, because I think people are jumping into boxes.
One of the mindsets around Game 5 for a lot of teams that are rolling in that might be around, let's say, 20th, 15th place, like 10, 20 points away. Do you turn on the gas now? Do you wait till Game 6 to do those desperate strats? Or do you keep it consistent?
I think it's entirely dependent on your play style, right? Like, in theory, the math is there. 2 good end games, 2 top 10s or 2 top 5s. That should be enough if you're in the top 20 or top 15 range in order to qualify top 8. But you have to think about it. If they weren't able to do that in games 1 to 4, then doing it when the pressure is on in game 5 to 6 probably just isn't possible. So people sort of go back towards the animalistic sort of, you know, the animalistic sort of play style. They try to jump into boxes. Like I mentioned before, if you have a coach who, you know, helps you practice, you do things a certain way in practice, but you're so used to playing another playstyle, it's just easy to revert to that playstyle rather than, you know, keeping your cool. And as I say that, Kinzo and Deceptos, you know, a very passive trio who I thought would keep the cool, jump in the box there and get another elimination, but it is not Benji and Savage, luckily.
Yeah, I was about to get worried too. I thought it might have been Benji and Savage. You talk about those animalistic type tendencies going towards your natural. I feel like the Citizens out. One of the 2 players, no matter what team they're a part on, love setting traps. If you haven't seen them do that much, they're here now in Game 5. They finally did set it up. Yeah, one of the eliminations, we're talking about Benji Savage, Benji in trouble, Kinzel actually going down. They're finally actually clashing, going for the trade, and the finish comes through. Benji ends up staying alive. Kinzel is down. They like laying traps, but the one thing about laying those traps, you have to put yourself out there. You have to put your team on the line in weird positions. And yes, they pick apart one team, but now the big legends of you come rivaling in and take them down once again.
Yep, and when you're laying a trap, you gotta be well hidden, and they were not well hidden. Everyone knew that they were fighting, and yet again, this goes back towards Tilted Towers, right? That being a super deep drop spot, a lot of mountains nearby, so much potential for third party, so much potential for players to be in there, and maybe they thought that was Benji and Savage that they were trying to push in, but they got the wrong team, and Benji and Savage, they capitalized on that situation.
Yeah, and Tilt is just one of those spots that also evolves, right? You see a spot like, I don't know, Shifty Shafts, it never really changes in the way people interact with it. People don't go in there as like a refresher type of POI. They don't go in there to stay there for a while. For Tilted, yeah, it's a drop spot in the beginning, but after that, it becomes a central hub for everyone to come in between. You can't lay traps in there and be all, you know, lazy-daisy while you're moving around. Things can get bad, and that's exactly what happened for Kinzel.
It was close there, though, Shia. It was so close. Benji down to 30 HP there in the replay, but unfortunately there, Kinzo was not able to get through. But the Siptos, he's going to continue on to lay the trap. He's now fully pieced up, stuck between 2 big boys, and unfortunately, he's not bigger than them, and he gets eliminated in that position. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do what Kinzo did to him twice last game, disappointing his teammate, unfortunately. But, you know, it's just another day in the office here for Benji and Savage, as they're up to 132 points today. Absolutely ridiculous gameplay from them. And, you know, if they make it to the finals this time, I think it's going to be a good stuff. It's going to be a win spot for them, because, you know, DKS and Bad Sniper are already in the finals, right? Remember that. So they're going to have this, but times 10 in the finals, because DKS and Bad Sniper, they don't care. They want to test Tilted every single time.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if that contestation will actually end up having them clash completely, right? Because we just saw from today, there has been a little bit of that, you know, spinning top in a bowl type battle. They end up chipping away at each other over and over again, and then spin out of control.
Just gonna end here,
right? Ending each other completely.
Yeah.
Even though I'm liking the way he gets all aggressive in any team that he comes up against. Travis and Steady, though, what's going on with that?
Is this thing gonna be on
the result that we see from them game?
Yeah. I don't know how they stop broadcasting crap. How does stop broadcasting?
I want to see that synergy.
Yeah, they sort of haven't been able to put everything together, right? If you take a look